the definitive guide to surviving a shark attack with the broologist who's survived several shark attacks.
True.
All right, here's what made me think of it. So there were 2 shark attacks in the U.S. this week.
Okay.
One was a surfer in Oregon.
Okay. Oof.
Ow. Ooh.
Yucky.
Wild Times Willie is a very gory man, even though
get
was my
that out
idea
of here.
to
We
pull
don't need to
the
see
picture.
that. Poor bastard. Get that out of here.
So Forrest, Oregon, chilly waters. What kind of shark are we dealing with there, you think?
Surfer on the West Coast, it's got to be a great white shark. You know, it's the most feared animal there is out here, especially if you're a waterman. And up as far as Oregon, there's really nothing else it could be.
So we have our surfer in Oregon attacked by a white shark. He survived, thankfully. And he said he'll be back out on the water just as soon as he heals.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Hey, lightning doesn't strike twice, you know?
That's true. The other one was in Hawaii. So there's the another surfer, by the way. Do you see a pattern?
Yeah. Wow, so they all look like seals.
That's the bite mark on the surfboard.
17 inches. So that's a different bite, by the way, being in Hawaii. And based on, see how round the bite marks are? I mean, I haven't seen these articles, but see how round they are versus pointed as a triangle? That is from a tiger shark.
Now, unfortunately, there was no survivor in this incident. It was fatal.
Oh, God.
But 2 shark attacks this week. And I thought, let's educate a little bit because it's a fear that all of us have. I even think about sharks when I'm swimming in a pool.
I think about them in the tub.
And I've been with Forrest when he's been bitten by a shark.
Oh, yeah? What's up with that?
What were you doing? How'd you get bit?
Well, okay. Now, those other 2 poor people, they were victims. I was the idiot in my shark attack instance that Patrick's talking about. I was feeding, there we go. Thank you, Will, so much. I was feeding lemon sharks in the Caribbean, and our good buddy Scott said, hey, look here for a picture. And it's not his fault that I turned my head and looked for the picture. It's my fault for not deciding to pull my arm out before turning my head for that picture. And I kind of did this double take and pulled my arm back. And right at the last second, I just caught one tooth of the lemon shark. And still have the scar to prove it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was obviously you were standing on a boat, but I've seen you underwater. You took a swab from the anus of a 15-foot tiger shark for trying to determine what it had been eating. I've seen you do all sorts of crazy shit just to make a good TV show with sharks.
Sure did.
For those of us who don't know, pretend you're a layman.
Yep.
You're swimming. You're snorkeling. You've had a couple beers. You're snorkeling on the family vacation off the coast of Maui.
Sure.
Right. All of a sudden you turn and there's a shark that is just very interested in you, a 15-foot tiger shark. What do you do? Run us through the steps.
100%.
How do you survive?
So this is tough because the situation is the first thing, right? If you put yourself in a situation where a shark wants to prey upon you, there are a few things you can do. And so we'll get into what to do to actually manage the attack and the conflict in a second. First and foremost, certain things you shouldn't do, right? Don't swim near river mouths. Don't go in murky water. If you're surfing, don't surf in a high shark area because when you're on a surfboard paddling around with your arms and legs flailing, you look like a seal or a sea turtle, which are sharks' favorite food, right? They're not attacking you intentionally. So I just want to make that really clear. Now, you're in the water, you're snorkeling, there's a shark that's showing a lot of interest. Now, what you would think that you should do is turn and run, right? Get out of there. Get out of the water as quickly as you can. And you're not wrong. You do want to exit the water. But if you decide to turn and swim away and frantically kick, I don't care how good a swimmer you are, what fins you have on, nothing, you will invoke a predatory response from that shark, right? Do not panic and swim away. Instead, if you have a shark showing interest in you, what you want to do is actually approach it, show it some dominance, swim right at it and make eye contact with it, right? Which is the opposite of what people would think. Generally, you'd think, oh my God, here comes a shark. I need to get out of here. What you really want to do is assert some dominance, make that animal backpedal for a second and go, whoa, what's going on here? This thing's actually trying to attack me. This is scary. Then calmly and swiftly exit the water. That's what you need to do. Now,
what do you mean by swiftly?
Now, you want to, so you're snorkeling, right? You see this tiger shark, it approaches you, you decide, you've listened to our Wild Times Daily, so you know I have to approach it head on, right? Not from behind, not from the side. I have to swim right at its head and show some dominance. Now, once you do that, the animal is most likely going to turn and swim away, right? But we all know shark circle, it's going to come back for a second pass. So while maintaining visual contact with it, watching the shark at all times, right? Meaning you might want to keep your back to the open water and your front towards the shark. You want to very calmly, smooth movements, get into the shallows, get onto the boat, whatever it is to exit the water.
Mm-hmm. So why is it, because we were in a situation with a lot of sharks with someone who was less trained than you, and you and Mike Dornelis and some of the other shark experts were complaining about his behavior in the water and specifically the way he was swimming. What was he doing?
It was just erratic, right? Arms were flailing, his legs were flailing. It wasn't smooth. It wasn't fluid. If you're flailing around, I say this all the time. I've said it. I say it for sharks. I say it for wolves. I say it for big cats. If you act like prey, you're going to get treated like prey, right? And what I mean by that is if you show panic, if you show nervousness, if you show erratic behavior, that is going to lead anything that has that hunting, that predatory instinct to go, wait a minute, this thing's on the menu. This is scared of me. Whereas if you show up, so to speak, to the wolf's den, into the shark situation and go, hey, I'm the boss, right? Like you come at me, I'm going to come at you twice as hard. They're going to think twice about it. Now, I'm not advising anybody listening to this go, okay, now I know how to deal with sharks. I'm going to get in with a hungry white shark or a hungry tiger shark and swim at it, and I know I'll be safe. You will not. So let's talk about what happens when the inevitable conflict actually takes place, right? So all the tips I've just spoken about, keeping eye contact, taking them head on, etc., are to try and stop conflict from happening, right? Actual engagement between you and the shark. But, as my arm can attest, as Mike Dornelis can attest to, basically anybody that works in the shark world and has spent a lot of time around these animals, sometimes, no matter how big and bad and tough you act, somebody's going to be tougher. And if that somebody is a shark that engages with you, you got to know what to do to try and stop it, right? Now, in the case of our two surfers, both bitten, right? They're both getting chomped. The only thing you can do is try and fight back at that point. Now, we're talking about an animal that's been around for hundreds of millions of years. They're perfect in their evolution. They're perfect in their niche, but they have weaknesses, right? Their weaknesses are in two places. Well, three places, actually. Let me say that. They're in three places, right? First and foremost, no shark is willing to go blind over a meal, right? If you decide to attack the animal's eyes when it's biting onto you, it will inevitably release. See, the reason that when a shark bites, you've seen all those videos in Jaws, the eyes roll back in the head and the nictitating membrane comes back, is to protect its eye. Because if its eyes get damaged, as these are visual hunters, never again will they be able to get another meal. So a shark instinctually knows that if my eyes get fucked up, I'm dead. So they will release no matter what. That's option number one.
Interesting.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, same thing with us, right? The second thing is breathing. Right? So if a shark gets you, and for some reason, I can't really think of the situation, you're just whaling punches or something, you can't get to the eyes, right? The gills are the next best spot. Now, the gills on the side of the head are what they use to breathe, right? They transfer, they bring water in, and they're able to pull oxygen out of that. They're incredibly, incredibly sensitive. And whereas the rest of the shark's body is covered in this thick, super tough, like sandpaper-like skin, the gills are very soft and rigid to allow that water flow. So if you can attack the gills, it's going to stop the animal from breathing. And just like if someone is attacking you and they're or if you're in a fight, right, and you get someone in a chokehold, they're going to stop fighting and go, try and breathe, right? It's the same thing if you attack a shark's gills. It's going to try and let go of you to give you that opportunity to get out. So those are the two main places you want to go for. Now, the third one that most people don't realize and don't talk about is right on the bridge of the nose. And Will, if you can pull up a picture of ampullae of Lorenzini, good luck spelling that. It is these tiny gel-filled pockets that are on the snout of every type of shark that would be willing to attack a person. Now, the inside of these gel-filled sockets are a little tiny hair that vibrates, right? And this little tiny hair is what picks up magnetic energy in the ocean, right? And it's what allows these sharks to sense things. And if you engage with the ampullae of Lorenzini, it overstimulates the shark. You might have seen these videos where people, and myself included, rub the snout of the shark, and the shark kind of goes tonic. It's called tonic immobility, and like sometimes it rolls over, or it just goes into this trance-like state. That's from like a gentle stimulus of the ampullae of Lorenzini. If you punch that thing in the nose when it's biting you, right on the tip of the nose, it's going to send signals to that animal's brain to just go overstimulation, and the whole animal's body is going to cease to function properly, and it will release.
Wow.
So those are the 3 points of attack that you can counterattack if you are ever bitten by a shark.
What's the first one you should go for? Obviously, you should go for whichever one you can. What's the best way to put it down quickly? The nose?
I would say the eyes.
That's fascinating.
I would really say the eyes. Yeah, I think that all of these animals instinctually know that if their eyes are damaged, they're done, right? And you if you're in a situation where you're in clear water, like what Patrick set up, where you're snorkeling or something, and you see the animal coming, obviously you can reach for the nose ahead of the bite, and that would be the best first deterrent. But once it's latched on, if you can get your fingers or thumbs or something into the eyes on the head, that is definitely going to make the animal release.
Could save your life. Love it. Like and subscribe.
There you go.
Pat, are you catatonic? Did you get
he
punched
looked
in the
frozen.
nose?
No, I got gently rubbed on my ampullae of Lorenzini.
Good stuff, guys. Love it.
All right. That's how to survive a shark attack.